Hello, my name is Debbie Jacobs, and I wanted to do a video to share the process that I used and created to heal myself from depression, anxiety, and bipolar. I lived most of my adult life with depression, anxiety, and bipolar, um, and uh, and then I ended up getting into some deep pain, some trauma. I went through a really bad time, and mental illness, mental therapy wasn't really helping me. I wasn't getting the relief and the support and the guidance that I needed. I was in a lot of pain. I had lost my job. I lost my father. My family was fighting. I was personally attacked. It was a really difficult period. And I went to a hypnosis uh, to help me with my negative thoughts, because my negative thoughts and my anger were so bad. Um, and I spoke with this woman, and when we spoke, I felt understood. I felt optimistic. I didn't feel angry. I felt, that things could get better. I just felt like heard. I just felt better. And when I was in therapy, I wasn't getting that. I actually was in group getting yelled at, and I was also taking DBT, which I liked, but I wasn't getting the benefit of it. It was almost like just wrong time, for me. Um, but basically, when I met this woman, I started, working on my self improvement, not talking about my problems, working on my flaws, working on making improvements in how I handle situations. And basically, what I did, what I focused on, and it took me 5 years and $300,000 to accomplish my healing. And then I thought about it for 3 years to process and analyze and create a process, create a system, what the healing was, what was the objective. And basically, what the healing is, it's going through all of our negative behaviors, all of our flaws, everything that doesn't serve us, and our negative thinking, and changing it to effective coping skills that serve our highest good and positive thinking. So when I started, I had negative thoughts and negative, ineffective coping skills and low self esteem. And when I finished, I had positive thoughts, positive, effective coping skills, and healthy self esteem. Um, and basically, I wrote all of my flaws. I made a list of all my flaws. Having low self esteem, having anger, having worry, having doubt, having shame, having guilt, having insecurity, being argumentative, being stubborn, taking things personal. It was a long list. It was all like they all add up. And you know what? When they all add up and you have a lot of flaws, a lot of negativity, in your behaviors, that could end up, leading to depression, anxiety, and bipolar. And so I really sought out first to get rid of my negative, ineffective coping skills. And you know what I think, that pretty much any involuntary reactionary, action behavior is our negative, ineffective coping skills. And it's something that's not taught to us. So, like, my dad never taught me to be angry. I just, had anger. I had anger problems. My dad never taught me to be fear, to be scared. He wouldn't say go into the store and be scared, but I developed fear. Of course, I developed, anxiety. My dad was never like, okay, go there and be anxious. It's not taught to us. It's an involuntary reactionary behavior. And when we can identify or zero in on all of our involuntary reactionary behaviors, that's our opportunity to make positive thoughts. To make positive change. And basically, what I did was I went through one by one. I worked on my anger to overcome my anger. And then I had to develop new coping skills to handle situations where I was, where I had handled the situation with anger. So if somebody, got called me a jerk, that's a situation that I would get angry. But um, instead, I'm like, okay, if I can use more effective coping skills to handle a situation. If somebody calls me a jerk, don't take it personal. Use communication, assertiveness. Why are you calling me a jerk? What's wrong? You know, it's a lot better than getting angry. And then, moving on to fear, I had to get over my fears. And let me tell you something. For me to get over my fears, it took being petrified. Really. I mean, I was like really scared, and I kept on saying, "It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Just keep going. It's okay. It's okay. And I faced my fears, and I got through fear, and I do think that it's like you have to really, break the barrier, clear the threshold, and get to a point where you're not afraid of fear anymore. And then when you're not afraid with a fear, you don't think about it. You don't worry about it. You're over it. And if fear comes up, you know, switch it into being acting with courage. So every time I get scared, and then I'm like, oh wait, I got to be courageous, because I built up my courage by getting over my fear, and I replaced my ineffective coping skill of fear with courage. But I had to build up my courage. And let me tell you something, you cannot build up your courage just with positive affirmations. You have to have action. Be in situations where you're able to, become more comfortable that are out of your comfort zone. That's how you build up a tolerance to fear. And then when you're able to um, be free of the fear, then you're comfortable. Like you're not afraid, and you've built up your courage. And it does also go with mastery of thought, because you want to not think about it, right? Don't perpetuate it in your thoughts, and then I moved on to insecurity. I was way insecure, way insecure. I really was. I mean, all the time thinking people don't like me, no one's gonna like me, whatever. And let me tell you something, that doesn't serve us. It doesn't, right? Insecurity, my dad never taught me to go out with your friends and be insecure. I developed that on my own, erroneously. And then it wasn't corrected, so I ingrained it into the foundation of my being. And then I ended up with insecurity for life. How's that? Great. you know so basically, it has to be undone, uninstalled insecurity. And a lot of it is mindset, because it's our thoughts that feed us, our insecurity. Our insecurity doesn't come from a situation, it comes from our thoughts. And when you can recognize that, and you say, okay, I'm going to start focusing on my thoughts, and then getting rid of thoughts that don't serve me. Did that thought just tell me that everyone's looking at me? I don't want to think that. I don't want to know that. It doesn't help me. It makes me feel insecure. So I'm going to get rid of that thought. And then, it's like you have to, well, oh, how do you act if you're not acting insecure? Guess what? You act with confidence. Just be more confident. And that's something that takes development also. You have to develop it from zero, from scratch. I didn't have assertive skills. I had to develop them from scratch. I didn't shift into being assertive. It took a while to build it. You build up, the skill. And then when you've built up the skill, you've replaced the old one. But you have to get rid of the old one first. If I am acting with anger, I can't build up my assertion skills if I'm acting with anger. I got to get rid of anger first, and then work to build up my assertion skills. And you actually kind of do it. It's like, as the anger gets less, your assertiveness gets more, because you're learning a new coping skill that's going to replace the ineffective, negative coping skill that's been ingrained in your in the foundation of your being and in your behaviors. So basically, it is a lot of it is mind work, and changing your perception of the situation, and in changing that perception, that's how you learn new coping skills. You say, okay, for me, instead of like I worry a lot. There's a lot of negative, ineffective thinking patterns and behaviors. They all have to go. Worry is another one. So what do I do if I'm not going to worry? I'm worrying about this test that I have on Friday, and I'm worried that I'm going to fail it and I'm not going to do good on it, and it's giving me anxiety and it's making me upset and everything, whatever. You got that is your ingrained coping skill. That doesn't serve you. You want to get rid of it. You want to get rid of the negativity. So what you do is you have to think of a replacement. So instead of me worrying, I'm going to think strategically. I'm going to think, okay, what do I need to do to prepare for that test on Friday? And I'm going to know that everything is going to be okay, and I'm going to study really hard. I'm not worrying about it. I'm creating a positive outcome, which is helping me to accomplish my goal of doing good on the test instead of worrying about failing it. Negative thinking, you know? So basically, I mean, there's so many, like being stubborn. I was stubborn in ego, you can't be stubborn. And you have to be able to listen to people, like every single behavior that doesn't serve us needs to change. Being controlling, like you not knowing boundaries. We have to respect boundaries. All of this was learned from scratch. So it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, boundaries. Oh yeah, okay. I instantly know what boundaries are. No, I had to research and really learn. And I actually worked with a family enmeshment coach because I have 5 siblings and a twin brother. I mean, I have 4 siblings and a twin brother, and our boundaries were all messed up, and it was really creating a lot of hurt in my life, and I couldn't navigate it. I was being bullied in my own family, and I couldn't deal with it at all. That's what happens, I think, in large families, and I'm the youngest. God forbid the youngest have a good idea. And basically, everything, inferiority complex, abandonment issues, trust issues, it all has to go. That all stems from our hurt. My parents, didn't teach me, how to effectively, not feel abandoned. You know what I mean? Like parents they didn't know back in that day. Um, and basically, it's like when you go through all your flaws, it's a long list. It was a long list for me. I'm actually, writing, this experience to share with other people, to give them direction and some help and guidance. But I went through everything, and as I started, learning new coping skills and getting rid of coping skills that didn't serve me. When I got rid of coping skills that didn't serve me, I would feel better, and it would help me to build my confidence. And now I'm learning, oh, okay, I did it that way. I shouldn't have done it that way. I'm doing it this way. That serves me better, so that helps me, with my confidence, with my self-esteem, feel better in my life, create a positive outcome. And let me tell you something. I really healed myself from depression, anxiety, and bipolar to my beautiful, authentic self. This is the person that Debbie was meant to be. This is the person that, is my beautiful, authentic self, the person who I was meant to be, but pain veered me off course, and I ended up with depression, anxiety, and bipolar. My ego self, my hurt self, in hurt with ineffective thinking and ineffective coping skills. Didn't serve me. It doesn't serve us to have anger, worry, fear, insecurity, doubt, jealousy, inner critic, negative self-talk, putting myself down, beating myself up. Hello. Depression, anxiety, and bipolar. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't serve me. And it's like, and also not doing self-care. I didn't do self care. I had horrible sleeping patterns. Like, really, my sleep was messed up. I took Ambien for a long time. And now I've through the course of changing all the negativity to positivity, I obtained mastery of thought, mastery of the mind, thinking positively, and I attained mastery of self, mastery of my emotions. I mean, but listen, I this is my authentic self, so I'm not perfect, and I'm not, and I don't try and be at all. I don't try to be. I can't, get upset if somebody upsets me, but I handle myself more effectively than I did when I had bipolar, depression and anxiety. And I also just wanted to add that it took reprogramming my subconscious mind with an app that I created called My Inner Voice, which allows you to record um, positive affirmations in your own voice to listen to so you can, while you sleep, to reprogram the subconscious mind. And I went and I changed a lot of my thoughts manually. And then at the end, I reprogrammed my subconscious mind. And I got to a point where I was able to, my thoughts in my mind would just flow positive as opposed to them being negative. And then I would, reframe it into a positive. With the app, they just flowed positive, and that was the icing on the cake of the healing process. So I had, great results. I mean, really, this is the spiritual awakening. Also, positive thoughts and healthy self esteem is the person that we were meant to be, and that's what I accomplished through my healing process. So I wanted to, put this information out there to help other people. Say, hey, listen, happiness is an option for us all. I mean, really, we can have the life of our dreams too. So my name is Debbie Jacobs, and I hope that you find this helpful. If you have any questions or interested in contacting me, feel free. I'm totally looking for people to help achieve their happiness and their freedom from negative thinking and mental illness. So, okay, my name is Debbie Jacobs. Have a good night. Thanks for joining. Bye bye.